All right. Welcome back to WMAC Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson. This is a special topic, one that I feel very passionate about because I follow this sport. I'm very passionate about it. And it just ticks me off, like just how garbage the mainstream MMA media is with the coverage of the sport and just the general clickbaitiness of so much of what they do. Lately it's been driving me up the wall, especially the last week and a half, and it just seems to be getting worse and worse every day. Maybe that's just me thinking it's getting worse and worse every day, but I just see more and more of the same type of headlines every day. Articles written up about absolute garbage, stuff that doesn't need to be talking about, but they're going to talk about it because, well, I guess apparently people will click on it, which generates ad revenue for them. So I guess part of this is the fault of the MMA fans, but that doesn't mean that the MMA media needs to be putting out this type of garbage. In fact, they shouldn't be putting out this type of garbage at all. I feel that they need to be holding themselves to higher standards, because that's what the media is supposed to do. It's supposed to educate the fans. That's what sports media is supposed to do. It's supposed to talk about important topics within the sport, and it's supposed to educate the fans on the sport. But lately, it has been nothing but just junk, and the junk seems to be getting more and more popular within their own circles, and they just seem to be bouncing off of each other with it. I'm going to give you 4 examples of what I'm talking about here, and I'm not going to name names, and I've redacted the names on the screenshots that I'm going to use, and I redacted the names of the website and the writers, and I've slightly obscured anybody's faces. All right, first up is a headline: Cejudo not really wanting to face Shevchenko. Well, no fucking shit, Sherlock. We all know he's just doing it for attention, okay? The guy is out injured. Therefore, no one would be talking about him if he wasn't calling out, making all these ridiculous call-outs. And the most ridiculous ones are the ones towards ladies. He's called out Shevchenko. He's called out Nunes. And then the stupid MMA media, someone asked Weili Zhang about Henry Cejudo Saturday after her win. Now, she was smart. She basically dismissed it right away and said, I'd face him if he went to Thailand and got a sex change. To me, that was the perfect answer to a stupid, beyond stupid, mentally challenged question. It really drives me nuts that how much the media is willing to play into Cejudo's desperate cries to stay relevant when he's out until probably next year. It's just ridiculous. It's childish on his part. I mean, it's kind of smart. Look, it's very smart for a fighter to keep his name in the mix, because he has 2 belts right now, but he's not defending either of them. So it is smart for him to try to garner attention and keep his name out there. But the way he's going about it is just beyond childish. And the media is doing, I think, the fans a disservice by playing into it. So kudos to Zahn for shutting down that question right away. Next up, let's talk about this guy. Now, he is technically not mainstream MMA media. Like, he doesn't work for an MMA media company. He's a podcaster. Supposedly, he's a comedian. I haven't heard him say anything funny lately. But he does like 3 different podcasts. One of them is supposed to be dedicated to fights. Now, he spends at least the first half of the show just talking about what he was up to the past weekend. And it usually consists of not watching whatever fights he's about to talk about. And then at the end of the show, he does a preview of what fights are coming up this weekend. And it usually consists of him talking to his assistant, asking him to bring up their Wikipedia records and then the betting lines, and then making his bets or making his picks based on that. And what he's most famous for is whatever picks he gets wrong, he then pretends to be having been on the winner's side the whole time. He's been busted for it so many times. Now, most recently, made a very egregious call. He said that Jessica Andrade was going to steamroll straight through Weili Zhang. Now, I'll admit, I picked Andrade to win, but I never would have said she would have steamrolled through Zhang. Anybody with half a brain who had actually watched Zhang fight knew that she was going to be a tough out for Jessica Andrade. But this guy said Andrade was just going to steamroll through her. And then he had the audacity to say that this was a crap main event, that it wouldn't even be a prelim on One Championship. Which just further shows that he's never actually watched a One Championship event, because that definitely would have been a main event in One Championship. Then, when people call him out for his bad call in that fight, he goes, you know what? I don't give a fuck about the strawweight division. So then why are you even making predictions about it if you don't care? This guy is just straight up trash when it comes to MMA picks, predictions, and fight reviews. Yet he's somehow popular. I personally don't get it. I guess because I don't fit into his dude bro audience. I don't know. Whatever. Moving along. This guy with the big nose who shall remain nameless. This guy is always trying to instigate stuff during his interviews. Always trying to create beefs where there are none. Always trying to get fighters to talk trash on their opponents, even when he knows that they're not the type to talk trash. So, one thing that I really hate about this guy is that anything he does, the rest of the MMA media tries to copy. But then if he's not the one to start it, he's definitely going to be copying it. And then he's definitely going to get a lot of credit for talking about it. For example, last week, people kept asking Andrade and Weili Zhang, if they won, would they be interested in a fight with Valentina Shevchenko? Oh my God. Who the fuck cares? Stop trying to create super fights that don't exist, don't need to exist, okay? Stop asking them about a fictional fight when they're worried about a title fight that weekend. Both Andrade and John got asked about that. Okay, it's disrespectful to not only Andrade, who was making a title defense, it was disrespectful to Weili Zhang, who was about to have the biggest fight of her life, and you're asking them both about a potential fight that makes zero sense in the short term, especially in the immediate future. And then it's disrespectful to Valentina Shevchenko, who's up at flyweight and has a division full of fighters ready to fight her. And it's disrespectful to all those other flyweights, who would then have to wait even longer for their shot. And it would be disrespectful to the strawweight fighters, who would then have to sit and wait for their shot. So it's just all around a disrespectful question to ask. But then, Big Nose here gets Weili Zhang on a show, and what does he ask her? Oh, you interested in a potential super fight with Wait, let me get in my proper voice. So, are you interested in a potential fight with Valentina Shevchenko? Stop it. MMA media, stop trying to make these fake super fights happen that, one, aren't necessary, two, nobody else is really interested in, and three, is just flat out disrespectful, okay? And then, carrying on to that same topic of trying to make these super fights happen, here's a final headline. Honestly, it's from the same website as earlier. It says, Valentina saying no to Zhang. She's not going to get to jump the line at flyweight. First of all, Zhang's not expecting to jump the line at flyweight, okay? She's only answering the question because she's being asked. She's not actively calling out Valentina Shevchenko. So, it's just trying to create these unnecessary headlines by asking these stupid questions that they just drive me up a wall. As a true fan of the sport, who's tired of all this garbage going on, and who's tired of seeing divisions being held up for these fights. Whatever. You know, and you can't really blame the fighters for wanting to talk about it because they are being asked a question, and it is good PR for them. So I can't really blame the fighters because they're just answering questions they're being asked. Okay? Shevchenko probably doesn't even give a crap right now. She's got worried about whatever her next defense is at flyweight. So again, they're being disrespectful by asking her about Weili Zhang. Alright. That's it. That's only 4 examples, but I probably could have come up with a ton more. But my blood pressure is up now. My heartbeat is up. My pulse is up. I just can't stand to talk about this anymore. All I'm going to ask is this. To you, the viewer, as an MMA fan, please, call out the MMA media when you see it, when you see them doing this kind of stuff. Okay? Ask for better work. These people are calling themselves journalists. This is not journalism. This is sensationalism. Okay? One of them that I showed is a multiple-time MMA Journalist of the Year winner. He's not even a freaking journalist. All he does is interview fighters and try to create drama. That's not journalism, okay? You want journalism? Go read a piece by John Nash. He contributes to Bloody Elbow. Or Kareem Zidane. I can't stand his SJW politics, but those guys are both very good journalists in the sport. They're 2 of the very, very small number of actual journalists in the MMA media. The rest of them are just, I don't know, mostly trash. Now, there are some good analysts in the sport, okay? I can't always stand Luke Thomas, but he is a good analyst. I like Zane Simon. He's very good at analyzing fights as well. There are some good analysts within the sport, and they'll call themselves analysts. They don't try to call themselves journalists because they know they're not. But most of them are trying to consider themselves journalists, and they're giving out awards for journalism to non-journalists. All I'm saying, I'm asking you as an MMA fan, as a fellow MMA fan and user of the MMA media, call out the BS when you see it and ask for better. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. You're just going to get clickbait article after clickbait article after clickbait article. That's all I have. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Likes are always appreciated, of course, and hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube, and hit that bell for notifications. And we'll see you next time.